Okay, I want to take an opportunity to look at the products that we have to delid the CPU, talk about my experiences, the pros and cons, and why I'm still a little hesitant and nervous about doing it, but I'm becoming more confident. This process isn't for the faint of heart, but I'll be honest, I think with a little bit of experience you can do it a little easier, and I think with a little bit of explanation on me, or by me, excuse me, that we can help prevent you from killing a CPU. So I started with this product, the Iceman CPU delid tool, and it's a simple tool. I've got another 14900K here. Let's just show you how this goes in. Bear with me. And it's a very heavy-duty tool. The hardware, it's quality. There's no doubt about it. Very heavy-duty. And what happens is you put this in the bottom, line up the arrows. I was testing this in another machine. I didn't get the paste cleaned up very well. So nonetheless, then it lines up here. You clamp it back down, and it is in here firm. It's solid, and that holds on to the. And then you would just simply screw this in, and it slides the lid vertical. Now, I have some complaints with this tool. Truth be told, I'm 1 for 2. So this was my first attempt at delidding, and I had this tool. And it pushes it forward, but it only moves it so far. And I thought maybe the first time I did this, I did something wrong. So I took to the interwebs and looked for, did I do something wrong? Should I have used another process? Should I have done something differently? You know, so other sites talk about heating it, putting it in the oven to heat up the glue underneath so it breaks free a little easier. I tried that on my second attempt. It didn't change the outcome of using this tool. So it pushes it, but it only pushes it so far and doesn't actually completely break the solder and the glue. Maybe the solder broke loose, but the glue was still hanging in there. And the reason why I don't have a viable CPU is I got it to break loose, and the videos and the demonstrations that I watched on YouTube told me to use soft tools and pry the lid up. So I did. See a problem? I gouged the board. This one's done. So this was a very expensive lesson, and I want to share it with you so that you don't make the same mistake. The lid would not move. It was still stuck, and you can't push it. You can only push it one direction with this tool. You can't flip it around and push it back and forth and back and forth to break it loose. You push it forward, and that's it. You're on your own to figure out how to get it the rest of the way off. And prying it and stuff obviously didn't do me well. The second time I watched a video and did some other learning about it, is put it in the oven. Well, that didn't really help because it still stayed stuck. But then once it was stuck, I needed a different method to take the lid off. And I saw another YouTuber actually use dental floss. So I stayed away from these corners with the raised chips, and I started in this corner, and I would work the dental floss under and sort of around, and worked it around, and was somewhat gentle with it. Definitely more gentle than prying with tools against the board. And that's when I was successful with my i7 So I'm 1 for 2 using this tool, but it kind of burned me because, you know, no one likes to run an i9-14900K. Still bitter about it, but learn from my mistakes so that you don't have to keep buying CPUs. So I went back, and I'm not going to call out, you know, the PC world, you know, rightly so. I asked what I could do to maybe get credit or move to a different tool, and of course it was a 50% restocking fee for this particular vendor, and I looked around, and that's, I don't know if that's kind of common or not, but that's what I was seeing, and I didn't like losing half my money. I'd rather have something, so I kept it. Unless if I eBay this or not, that's fine, but I'll be honest, I kind of like it for just the tray. So after you delid and you're trying to clean it up, I take this out, I set the CPU down into the panel where it protects, it sits in there comfortably, protects the underside, and I clean and scrub with it in the tray as a expensive CPU tool, but I've got a nice tool for that. So that's where I am with this particular tool. That's how I use it moving forward. Not that I'm trying to cast aspersions at it, but it's not as effective as it needs to be. And so I moved on to the Thermal Grizzly product, and what you get in this particular tool, and we're going to delid my KS here in a minute. I hope successfully. But so you put it in at this angle, and there's threads on each side. I've not needed to use the other side, honestly. But you just, then you slide this in, and this lid holds it in place, and you pull it across this way instead of pushing it forward. Well, in that situation, you're breaking loose the longer runs of the glue, and only the short sides would have in theory, still an attachment or a tackiness to hold on to, as opposed to the longer sides that are getting pushed forward. It was more effective, but I got nervous the first time I used this, and I used it for the test bench. Well, I've been using all my testing, and I'm 1 for 1, hopefully 2 for 2 here with the KS delidding. But I got nervous because it was sliding the lid, but I took it about as far as this one was taking it, and I'm like, I don't know if I should keep going, not keep going. What happens if I get across this way? And I took it out, and I started playing around with dental floss and I was like, why am I doing that? Put it back in the device and just go. I mean, if I break another CPU, I break another CPU. And that by far was the safest thing to do, because it pulled the lid right off. And I felt it come loose, and I'm like, well, I hope I didn't damage the CPU. And so we're going to do this again, and it made it much easier to remove the lid and cleaned it up, and it's been a really good CPU for my test bench. And whatever system I end up putting it in, maybe it's just going to be a test bench CPU if I do a bunch of other testing. I'm really hopeful I do. But let's try the KS and see where we can go. See if you notice, it's going to pull it away from those raised capacitors, if you will, to this side. This one pushes it forward. This one pulls it sideways. Okay, here we go. starting to move. You hear it creaking along, glue's giving, solder's giving out. Let's see on this side how it's pulling. And hopefully without any fuss, lid comes right off. Now we just have to clean it up. I won't be reusing this, so I won't use products to clean it up. But we will clean up the dye and the glue around the edges here. So, excellent product. Hopefully it's still a viable chip. We'll see. But I do like this product to see how it recesses down in. Oh goodness, that was a little rough. Now it's a good workbench to protect the CPU while I clean it. Kind of an expensive vice, if you will, but serves a purpose. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is use this piece of acrylic that is supplied in the delidding tool and gently go around and gently scrape away at the glue. Now you can also soak this in some alcohol, put some alcohol on, loosen up the glue a little bit. Be careful when you get around these chips. Very, very easy. Slow, easy. Take your time. Clean it up. I'm going to do this off camera. It's going to take me a good 5-10 minutes at least. Slow, easy. Alright. See you in a second. I'll zoom back in there and show you.
The test schedule is complete.
Yeah, you caught me. I was actually running other OCCT burn-in stability tests on one of the other setups while I was doing this. So that's just going to be added to the data. Seems like it's relatively stable with doing the 10-minute burn-ins. Everything's getting all set for this KS and my other system. So now I'll be honest, I don't know if this is similar to the liquid metal product that Thermal Grizzly sells, but he does say that you can use liquid metal if instead of what comes in this kit. This wasn't as expensive as the Thermal Grizzly product, if memory serves. But basically, it doesn't take a lot per application, and you just have to cover it. And and you're going to let it sit, and it breaks down the solder, and then I will use this flat tip of the mashed out toothpick, if you will, and scrape along like this. And we'll let it sit for a little bit more, but you can see it's starting to come up already. And I will take my time and wipe it up, and it might take 2 or 3 applications, but I will get it as clean as I possibly can. But it's not going to be shiny. It'll be dull finish, and then I will polish it to a mirror finish with some Flitz polish. I used an awful lot of that during the testing, because every time I wanted to clean up liquid metal for new application or put a block away, the liquid metal would wipe up, but it always leave that tarnished residue on the bottom of the block, and you had to clean it up and then polish it every time. You know, some of these time-consuming things that you just don't realize you need to spend time doing, and how much time it's going to take you. So I'm going to go ahead and let this percolate a little bit, and I'll bring you back when I've got the glue cleaned up and the solder removed, and then we will polish the die, and I'll show you that process. Okay, we're back. So we've got the glue or adhesive cleaned up from around the die. We've got the solder removed from the die. You could put it in your computer and use it right here, but I like to try to polish the die. At least that's what's recommended. The more mirror finish that you get, the smoother it is, and in theory you get better heat transfer. We've come this far, let's finish it up. So we're going to use a Flitz polish, and I just use a Q-tip. The kits come with other fancy Q-tip replacements, but it's just a Q-tip. And then let's zoom in right here. It doesn't take much, just a little bit. That's a lot, actually. I'm not pushing hard. I'm just got some light pressure and letting the polish and just the grit from the Q-tip continue to clean this up. Now you don't want this stuff to dry on here, but you're just going to keep working the compound in. Until you get the finish you're after, which hopefully is nice and shiny. You can see what comes up. Alright. And I'm just going to take some bathroom tissue. Good thing I'm not doing this in 2020, and this would have cost me like double and triple just for the bathroom tissue I've used to clean things up. Okay, bad joke. Too soon? Is it too soon? All right. And of course, you can't see anything, but I'm a drummer. I can lift this out. That, and then we're just going to keep too bad. That's getting there. I'm going to do one more polish application and see if I can't get a mirror shine. I'll be right back. Okay, I think we've got this on the run. Looks pretty good. It's cleaned up. We've got one more step. Go raid your missus and get some clear fingernail polish. I don't know if you could use red, yellow, purple, who knows. I was told use clear. Does it matter? I don't know. Somebody test it and get back with me. But anyway, clear fingernail polish, and you want to put it on these little chips here. A nice light coating. And I went a little heavy on the test bench PC, and that caused a lot of problems because it held on to the frame here and went under and touched pins. So I put it in the board, and the pins, not all the pins were making contact. I thought, oh my goodness, I ruined a CPU. But I took a chance with a very light, quick brushing of acetone on the back, thinking that that was the issue, and sure enough, we fired right up after that. I put them on these as well. Whether you need to or not, I don't know, but the only reason that you're doing this is because you're going to use liquid metal, I would assume. What happens when you assume things? But liquid metal is conductive, where thermal paste isn't, or at least the new thermal pastes on the market are not. You can still get some that are. Use caution. But this way, and again, here I am getting too heavy with it, hopefully not causing problems. But you cover this up, and if the thermal paste, if the liquid metal runs, then it won't actually short the CPU out because your circuits are covered on top. So, okay, I'm going to give that a few minutes to dry, and then we will give it a test fire. Smoke test coming up. All right, so we put the i9-14900ks in the delidded state with the direct dye cooler from Thermal Grizzly. A little bit of liquid metal. It's late. I'm nervous. I hope this works. I really want this to work. Okay. i9-14900ks. Successful delid. I wonder why there's no quality statistic. Oh well. Quality's 122. Darn good. 110 CPU quality. I'll take it. Alright. We're ready to rock and roll. This goes in the main rig. Thanks guys for following along. More to come.